watch your man take the checker, that's when you allow yourself a moment's respite, an instant of jubilation, the right to stand in the limelight. But not for long. There's another track just down the road. Got to make certain things are right for qualifying. Take care of the car, your driver, your teammate. That's what got you to Victory Circle, and that's what will get you there again. Welcome to the site of the only repeat engagement of the 2001 ASA AC-Delco Racing Series Championship. We're at Hawkeye Downs in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. It was right here in April that rookie Johnny Sauter scored the first of his record 6 victories, a total that includes an amazing 5 in a row. In fact, it looked for a good long time as though no one would be able to derail the Wisconsin native in the all-blue car. Then, as now, Sauter relied heavily on his crew, led by crew chief Joe Shear Jr. And Joe, as that streak started to unfold, did you really expect the feeling of family that you guys got?
Yeah, I did. We've worked together, the Sauters and the Shears, and when he came to drive for us, his driving ability suited my setups, and we just gelled, and we've been getting better and better, and I really believe we're hard to beat.
They're into the stretch drive now, and they do lead the points. Now, with another family story, let's go to Buddy Baker.
You know, Chris, looking at Johnny Spa here, 75 times he's been a winner here, 6 times track champion. But behind every one of these guys, there's got to be somebody that really makes it all happen. In this case, it's his brother, Ray Spa. Ray, come out of here. You work every day on a regular job, and when you get off, you go over and work on the car till 11, 12 o'clock at night. Don't you get tired of working on these things?
Oh, it's just, we're used to it. We've always worked on race cars, started off in motocross, and just got into racing, just used to it, I guess. Got to put the hours in if you want to go fast.
That's true, and I'll tell you one thing. There's nothing like brotherly love. Bob Dillner?
Buddy, there's no love today for Dudley Fleck. He's waging an all-out war versus the ASA invaders to his home track. He's won local races here before. Jerry Botcher is his crew chief. Jerry, can you beat these ASA traveling bandits?
I believe we can be real competitive. The track isn't an issue. This is our backyard. We'll be as competitive as anyone else.
Well, these boys know this pavement very, very well, but the question is, do they know this car? Bobby Gerald?
Well, Bob Dillner, the question for Matt Silsky isn't how he knows his race car, but how well does he know his crew chief? A brand new crew chief here for car number 10, but he does have ASA roots. Dave Liner is the nephew of Butch Miller. He also wrenched last year in the Busch Series for Blaze Alexander. But Dave Liner, what do you bring to this team?
Well, I don't know if there's any one thing I can bring to this team. It's a culmination of a lot of things. This is a first-year team. They have a great foundation. Hopefully we can work on that and start to get some better results. Matt's not been running too bad. He's got a great head on his shoulders. He's got a good feel for the cars, and I'm looking for some good things tonight. I think if we keep out of trouble and keep our P's and Q's right, we'll bring home a top 10 finish.
All right, Chris McClure, they'll be looking for their first top 5 possibly of the year.
Thanks, gentlemen. We're set to get underway here at Hawkeye Downs for the Texas Roadhouse 300. 35 ASA racers poised along the front straightaway, ready for the orders to spring to life. So stay right there. We'll have the green in a moment. Coverage of the 2001 ASA AC-Delco Racing Series Championship is being brought to you by BF Goodrich Tires. Take control. And by Fram Filters. Pay a little more now or pay a lot later. Cedar Rapids, Iowa, main center of commerce in eastern Iowa, flanking the banks of the Cedar River, joined by the 5-in-1 Dam and home to the world's largest cereal mill, Quaker Oats, and the Old Creamery Theater Company, a famed tourist destination just up the river. It's called Usher's Ferry, and hard by the Amana colonies, and with the University of Iowa just a few miles to the south. We're at Hawkeye Downs. Standing by down below, Andrew Paxton of Texas Roadhouse for those magic words.
On behalf of Texas Roadhouse, gentlemen, start your Vortec engines!
And immediately you hear the answering call of 35 Vortec engines springing to life as they get set to do battle over 300 laps here at Hawkeye Downs, the second visit this year of the ASA AC-Delco Series to this racetrack. Who starts up front? Well, a man who until April owned this track, Mike Garvey on the pole, with Johnny Sauter, the points leader, on the outside. And then Mike Eddy and Buddy Baker. I know you've been looking forward to him starting up front.
Boy, he's always exciting with 57 wins in ASA, 7 national championships, and he's turned up his test program. Look for him to be a factor tonight.
Starting 14th, Mike Miller. Well, he's further up than he was the first time here.
You're right about that. He started 31st and worked his way all the way up to 6th, but it's been over a year since he'd won a race.
Also in 21st spot, Russ Tuttle, the sheriff out of Indianapolis in car 16. Little breakthrough last night for him.
A great run. I think that Glenn Allen Jr.'s turned this program around. It was nice to see Russ Tuttle win. Though it be just a qualifying race, a win's a win.
Just pulling away from the front straightaway, the field begins to move. Take a look at the points for the 2000 season. It's still a battle as we approach the stretch drive. Johnny Sauter up in front with 2,215 points. And now let's take a moment for our BFG point of view.
During the week, we use this old grandfather jack, 84 pounds, but you wouldn't want to carry this baby around every time you need to make a pit stop. Let me tell you, it's only 200 bucks. They bring out the big iron when they're ready to go. 30 pounds. Tell you, Kenny Lund showing us how they put the jack under there. One pump, the tires are off the ground. $1,800, but if you're going to have great pit stops, you have to have this type of equipment. Bob Dillner?
Buddy, a 30-pound jack does not alone make a good pit stop. You need a fast tire changer. And Jeff Carell is the man. He's only 20 years old, but he's one of the best in the biz. But he has to go through rigorous workouts, including lifting weights every day and also running every day to become the tire changer on the Joey Clanton Zaxby Chevrolet. And now he's turning stops in just over 6 seconds. Now that is fast, Bobby Gerald.
And Bob, how do you become a tire changer and pit crew man for the ASA? Well, as these guys go to work with all their experience, you have to go back to the most important guy on the crew, the very first guy that the driver sees. And here he is right here. This is my sign boy, Dan Schmidt. He's 14 years old. Today, he'll hold the sign, but in a couple of years, he might be changing tires with the big boys. Chris McClure.
Bob, there's a great deal to be said for experience and consistency in any form of racing. Here at the 52 car, we have a group of men, many of whom have been around since the beginning. Led by crew chief Chip Caputo, this group represents 129 years of ASA experience. Is it any wonder they led the points for half a season and still might win the 2001 championship? That's this evening's BFG POV. Take a look at the rookie points as the cars continue to bring their systems up to temperature. We have Johnny Sauter, the overall leader, with a huge lead in the Rookie of the Year standings. But Mike Cope has been running better and better. He still may make a fight out of this before the season is done. We're emphasizing the value of teamwork and the teams down there to service these cars. It cannot be minimized. It is always important. So very, very important.
You want a first-hand look at just how important a crew is to a driver? Take a look at this. Todd Rosebrook crashed his number 47 car during qualifying, and his crew is thrashing to get that car back together. Todd, just how important is it to have a dynamite crew?
You got to have it because things like this happen, and they're working hard to get us back out there, and they will.
The reason why this is so important, guys, a lot of teams in ASA have only one car, as does Todd Rosebrook, and they are putting it back together for him to drive in this race.
They did their job. They got her back on the track, but last night Rosebrook was one of a half dozen who failed to get through the qualifying race and into this field of 35 for the Texas Roadhouse 300 at Hawkeye Downs. But in every case, they will be back to try one more time next time ASA rolls them out to do battle. Buddy Baker on the back straightaway. They're beginning to form up. in the last race in April. Here's a summary: 15 cautions for 77 laps. We had 4 lead changes, 4 different drivers. Sauter was on the pole. He did not lead the first lap. He led a few right after that, and he led the last 170 laps of that 300 lapper that night to get his first career victory. And perhaps we have a problem, I hear, from down at pit road with the 33 car, that of Greg Stewart. Is that correct, Bob Gerald?
That is correct, Chris. The report is a clutch problem on the 33, which of course will make pit stops very difficult getting in and out if you don't have the clutch. Right now, they say no clutch on the 33.
There's his crew standing by for further word whether they're going to have to do work in the pits prior to the first scheduled pit stop that they have mapped out in their race strategy. And there's a look at the car again. Not only pit stops could be a problem with bad clutch, Buddy Baker, but it doesn't help on the start either.
No, he will have to start in high gear, and the way you do that is just drop back a little bit, anticipate the start, and try to get as much momentum as you can, but you're never as good as if you had a clutch where you could change gears.
And he needs to make a movement forward right from the get-go, really. Greg Stewart is starting from the 24th position, and we have some fireworks going off over turn 2 as the field continues to warm up. And Bob Dillner, you have more?
Well, Joey Clanton didn't qualify as well as any hoped, so the crew went to work last night. They took the car out in the parking lot of their hotel, and they changed just about everything in that car, including the transmission, the rear end, the entire suspension, the spindles, every single thing on that car except for the chassis, the body, and the engine. So we'll have to keep an eye on that Zaxby Chevrolet as it tries to make its way through the field.
Joey Clanton's a fellow who's had some success this year, Buddy Baker, but he needs some good points races as we get into this stretch drive.
Well, he's right up there near the very front of the points right now, but you see him shaking that car back and forth, and this first little bit of the race will be an experiment for him, and he'll talk to his crew and they can make adjustments. So it's not like he does not have a car that he can adjust. He knows about what he needed to make those changes.
Joey Clanton in car number 83 has a victory that came earlier in the year. His last 3 outings were productive. A second, a fifth, and a fifth. And now we get the green flag. And then they come down the straightaway. Mike Garvey and Sauter break away just a little bit at the front as we see them stream through the first couple of corners of this 300 lapper.
Boy, Sauter got a start like you wouldn't believe. He has about a 2-car length lead as they headed into turns. Look at this gap in the 1 lap there. Sauter letting everybody know, I didn't win this race on a fluke last time. I have a great car.
He was on the pole last time they ran here, and he had that done to him in the opening lap, and then fought back to get into the lead and lead the first 30 from or 61 from that point forward. I don't think they're going to run him down in the second lap, though.
No, and team car is fighting it out right there. The number 1 of Mike Garvey, the 21 of Kevin Sawinski. Team cars, but these cars have made contact in the past also. Just because they're teammates, they go out there and try to win.
Kevin Sawinski, who was a contender for the victory in the first trip here until late in the race, when he came to grief in turn 3 and 4, was bumped from the back and spun out and had to settle for something well back in the pack in 15th position. Bob Gerald.
And Kevin Sawinski is racing here tonight without his wife, Tracy, his number 1 supporter, who is always at the racetrack with him. She's been on TNN several times. Tracy is back home. The couple is expecting their very first child, so congratulations to Kevin and Tracy. But Tracy watching this one at home tonight.
And he carries the colors of the event sponsor, Texas Roadhouse, and he's following his teammate Mike Garvey carrying the colors of Tecumseh, and they share the sponsors back and forth a little bit as well.
Yeah, and that yellow car just behind these two as they fight it out. Mike Eddy having a good run here. He started testing a lot, and Ed Howe has stepped the program up a lot on the test program. He and Larry Rathkaff, a guy that worked with Dodge for so many years, they've really turned up the heat on this, trying to get this car back up front. It's 99 since he won on ASA, although he has 57 wins.
Almost 2 years since he was victorious. He did have the same grid spot 2 races ago at Berlin, but he fell way back and he didn't finish very well at all, 26. But tonight, maybe he's a little more racing.
Well, there he got the lead, and then when he came into the pits, as he started to exit the pits, he had a problem with the back of the car. I think the drive shaft itself broke.
We have a big growing space back to second place from Johnny Sauter. There you see it. and the men in the crew supporting number 21 Kevin Sawinski in the Texas Roadhouse machine. Now under heavy attack from Mike Eddy. There you see them, Mike Chatfield, Dan Miller, and the rest of them, and that's a crack crew. They know what they're up to.
Yes, they do. They're very good. And Mike Eddy's car able to run right against the inside of the racetrack. Now he's working up on the high side. He's even thinking maybe I could pass this guy on the outside.
He's got his nose right up under the spoiler of Kevin Sawinski as they go through the corner. Is he going to make a move here?
Well, what he's doing now is moving back and forth. He's making Sawinski look in the mirror. Is he going to come on the outside? Is he going to try the inside? He's going to try the outside. That's definite.
Okay, going into turn number 3. Does he have it? Boy, he took it in deep, didn't he? Nice move, and it looks like the position belongs to Mike Eddy as he moves up to third past Kevin Sawinski.
This car is a rocket ship right now. Mike Eddy knows how to drive these racetracks. You can see a little different groove of the two cars there. One trying to hug the bottom, Mike Eddy just trying to get past.
One would not think that Mike Eddy, with his experience, is the kind of race car driver at this point in his career who's going to try and get too much done in too short a time. Let's go back downstairs. Bob Dillner.
Well, Mike Eddy's crew is patiently looking at that Kellogg's number 11 car right now, because if you look very closely in between the front left tire and the engine compartment, you can see some flames inside there. What Dave Sensible, the crew chief, has told me, he thinks a bunch of rubber, a big clump, has gotten stuck in the engine on the headers, and that has lit some flames underneath that hood of that Kellogg's car.
Well, that's worth keeping an eye on. Right now, we can't see it from up here and outside, Buddy Baker, but we'll certainly be mindful of that as it goes along.
I can see the brake rotor as they started into the corner there. The left front brake rotor was cherry red, but that's normal on a short track. As it gets darker, you'll see that just about on all the cars.
Working on leader lap number 14 for Johnny Sauter, who leapt to the front from the outside pole position in the first corner, and he's drawing slowly away from everybody else. And we heard his man, Joe Spears Jr., just a while ago say they really didn't think they could be beat at all the rest of the year. They have a team that's just brimming with confidence, and he is a rocket ship right now. As a matter of fact, starting to pick up some traffic as we watch this battle.
Speaking of Mike Eddy, he's running down Mike Garvey at a slow pace here, but everybody right now, I'm going to tell you, the 9 car of Sauter is in another zone as far as being out there. He's like a straightaway ahead right now.
Joey Clanton there, we're on board with him. He's running in 12th position with Mike Miller, number 18, just ahead of him. Mike Miller up from the 14th grid spot as we go downstairs again to Bob Dillner.
Well, it's Bobby Gerald down here in the Joey Clanton pit, and Joey just radioed in to Jack Long and told him that he's a little bit too tight. So Gene Roberts and the crew will be making an adjustment when Clanton comes in on his first scheduled pit stop. Joey, last year's Rookie of the Year, has 2 wins, but he has not been good here this weekend. He was very frustrated yesterday in qualifying, guys.
So we'll watch his progress forward. I mentioned he was in 12th. He remains there as we get that report from Bob Gerald. And there is some of the others behind Clanton. We have Smokestadt in the 07 car, and Fleck just behind him in the number 46. That is Dudley Fleck from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Man with a lot of local knowledge, and this is a battle for position.
And you can see he has his car dialed in pretty well. There was a question about how much they were going to be able to do with the ASA car. Looks like it's handling quite well.
Leading the fray, he has since the beginning, is Johnny Sauter, followed by Garvey and Eddy, Sawinski, and Koch in the top 5. We're at the Texas Roadhouse 300 in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. We're in the early going. There's a lot of action still to come, so stay right there. Welcome back to Hawkeye Down, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. We are under yellow. We had a solo incident just a couple of moments ago involving that man, Buddy Baker, number 10, Matt Sealski.
Matt Sealski getting into turn 3 over there. The back of the car came right around on him. He was moving forward, though. Let's get a little replay and see what happens. There he is, right by himself, spins around. No contact on the outside wall. Came very close to getting the right rear end there, but he stops right there. He'll get back in there and go at it.
So under the yellow, a few folks who were under a yellow fire at the back of the pack are taking a couple of pit stops, but nobody that's a contender.
Woo! Lake living with Matt Sealski.
It's fun and games on Lake Norman, especially When Bob Dillner and Matt Sealski dropped by the Baker household, Dillner, of course, is hopeless. But when two generations of racing blood get on anything that's powered on any surface, solid or liquid, then instinct comes to the fore and competitive fire is ignited, expressed through maximum speed, and so often promptly doused. A lesson gladly delivered by one of the best of all time, and he's our buddy.
If I can learn a couple of things from Buddy, whether or not it's on the racetrack or out on the lake, I'll take it.
See you.
There at Hawkeye Downs, there's the race leader storming into one. We're back under the green. Garvey runs second, Eddie third, Sawinski and Cope. That part of it remains the same. The other thing that remains the same, buddy, is that Sauter has him covered.
He does have them covered. I mean, on restarts, he just rockets away. He's had a little contact on the left side of that race car, though. Even the leader has a hard time getting by lap traffic on this tight half-mile racetrack.
So we keep a close eye on him. He led 231 of the 300 laps that were run here back in April on the way to his first career victory. And there's Mike Garvey looking back at Eddie.
Yeah, and you can see Mike Eddy's car, the yellow one there, number 11, slipped just a little bit coming out of the corner then. He lost a little bit of traction and about a car length on Mike Garvey.
I think, in terms of pit strategy, buddy, a lot of folks have in mind a one-stop race for tires with a right side change only.
Yeah, because it's so important to have that track position. You get back in the pack there, it's very hard to pass. You can see the line that they run around the racetrack right on the bottom.
Long way away from scheduled pit stops. Meantime, picking up some traffic at the front is our race leader and the rest of them. Bob Dillner?
When team owner Alec Pincinot decided to move the 9T from Canada to North Carolina, Johnny Sauter said, I want this guy, car chief Joe Zielinski. Joe, you've been with Johnny now. You're his roommate back in North Carolina, but you've prepared for this race a lot. Tell me, why is this car so fast right now?
Yeah, just on throughout practice sessions, you know, we practice the mock qualifying runs like everybody else, plays good in qualifying, but the same token, we practice long runs, you know, and make the car good for the race, you know. The car times don't drop off as much as a lot of the other cars, which we think has a lot to do with our success, you know. Plan on a good pit stop tonight, and hopefully at the end of the night we'll come out on top.
And Johnny is trying to give Joe a birthday present. Joe's birthday is 25th today.
Meantime, a big shuffle up there. Eddie to second, Sawinski to third, Garvey to fourth.
No, Mike Garvey right now.
He got back through.
He got back through on the bottom side of Sawinski. But I'll tell you one thing. Oh, we have another spin.
Number 36, that is Craig Smith from Godfrey, Illinois, who's turned it around. He's only 18 years of age, and he's stopped sideways in the middle of that corner. I don't know if his engine shut off or not.
And Sauter's not going to be thrilled about looking in that mirror and seeing Mike Eddy there.
No. Mike Eddy is a veteran. He's won on this track over the years. And having him right behind you with his competitive fire turned up a notch or two is something that nobody really relishes if they can avoid it. So they slow him down again. We're on leader lap number 37. That one is about to be put into the record books as official. Sauter has led from the first corner of the event, trying to tack on significant points to his lead over everybody else. 14 out of 20 when this race is done will be the count for the season. 14 races out of 20, and we wait for them to get everything squared away. You know, there's no substitute for top flight equipment on the track. At the shop and around home, it doesn't hurt either. That's the subject of our snack shot.
It's awesome. Scott Lefevre spares nothing for the shop. I mean, we have a beautiful shop. We have it well equipped. Have all the tools we need. We also have a lot of things to play with outside with the go-kart track, the golf course, the sport court. This is very nice. I don't know if it could get any better than this. Go-karts are fun. I tell you, we got to be careful though. We've had some pretty good wrecks out there. It's a wonder no one's got hurt. We get pretty rambunctious on the go-karts, and it's fun, but we got to make sure we keep it under control a little bit. Tecumseh does a good job keeping the motors tuned up for us and keeping us right in the right speed we need to keep them in. My golf game used to be pretty good. I used to be able to play right at par. I've shot under par a few times, but driving was never my greatest attribute. What I was good at in golf is 175, 200 yards into the green, I could hit the green, and you know, I could get up and down, as they call it in golf. And that's what I was never the longest hitter, but I could hit the ball straight and I could play good with the irons. So golf to me now is just relaxation. I like to go out, and just have fun. It's my way of getting away from the race cars, getting away from racing. I can clear my mind, and it's just a nice, relaxing day out in the sun.
You know, that looked a lot like my yard. The golf course.
Yeah?
Just kidding, folks.
I was going to say, you know, I've been playing golf for a long time, and I hit a shot like that once.
Yeah, I remember when I did, too. 2 laps to go, you see the flagman telling them.
Standing, Sauter, Eddy, Garvey, Sawinski, and Cope at the top. Cope hanging around. He could be a factor before this is done. We still have an awfully long way to go, so don't you go away. Welcome back to Cedar Rapids. That is a new yellow. We did get the signal to go racing. Then things quickly went awry one more time. Compliments of Craig Smith.
Craig Smith, the number 36, he starts down in the corner here. You can see Gary St. Amant just gets into the quarter panel just at the wrong place on the racetrack, and around goes Smith.
St. Amant was able to steer to the right, and you see the scramble to avoid him. There was a little contact in that pack bat there, but among the contenders, things didn't change. Sauter, Eddy, Garvey, Sawinski, Cope, the top 5, then Miller and St. Amant. Let's go to Bob Gerald.
Well, J.C. Beatty just leaving in the 09 car, and we're down here with one of our crew members, Rayanne Reyes, a female out here on a male-dominated team. How do you get along with all these guys?
It's tough, but I enjoy being around them.
What's your duty tonight?
Tonight I'm doing their signboard.
The signboard, you got to start somewhere, so you're going to be working your way up maybe to tire change or something like that?
Oh, definitely not. I'm just here. I'm a friend of JC's, just here to support him. I'm from Cedar Rapids, so that's the reason I'm here.
All right, a little local help for JC. JC is having problems, guys, and the reason he is at the rear of the field, a throttle has been sticking, and Buddy Baker, you have to imagine that a stuck throttle is not the funnest thing to have. You ever had one of those in your career?
I have, and you're right. You will never forget it. It's like opening your closet and finding a tiger on the other side of the door. It just absolutely just scares you half to death, because when you back off, you've gone as far down the straightaway as you need to go. When you back off, it just keeps pulling right into the corner.
Recognition for the crew supporting J.C. Beatty in this one. Right now, he runs in 33rd position. He's been in the pits 3 or 4 times trying to get that problem solved. And while they circulate under the yellow, a couple of notes here. Mike Miller started 14th, running in the 11th position with at least one more lap to go. Scott Hansen, the number 5 machine, started 19th. He's climbed his way up to 13th. The 33, Greg Stewart, in spite of clutch problems we had reported on early, has gone from 24 to 17. And there's Mike Eddy. He's number 2. Let's go to Bob Dillner.
Well, Mike Eddy is running very well, but we did tell you he had that small fire underneath his hood. Dave Sensup is the crew chief for Mike Eddy. Do you have things under control right now?
Yeah, we think there's a piece of rubber on the headers burning, and it went out, so everything's fine.
Well, maybe, just maybe, that a polar bear had iced the fire that was underneath the hood there. What do you think, guys?
Well, he was about to ice Sauter's car. He had gotten up to the door on that restart just before that caution. I guarantee you, Mike Eddy, if he gets up there, he's a hard man to keep in second.
Tom Powell from Rockford, Illinois, turns them loose again. They stream onto the back straightaway. And Greg Stewart now into the wall, so the yellow immediately back out. They're having a little trouble completing one lap. We see the netting come down, so he's all right.
Yeah, and he's a very unhappy camper. The way he threw that net down, he is not happy with being in the outside wall. Something happened there that got him up there. I have no idea.
Didn't see anything specific as we watched them stream off turn number 2, but let's look from the back, buddy. There he,
he
got
gets
cranked
touched
right
on the right rear corner there. That's Francesco Gardesi in the 29 gets into the right rear corner there and turned him right into the outside wall.
So he's up there, and you see the yellow light flash on, and he's waiting for some assistance inside, but he's already hung the helmet and dropped the net. Bob Gerald.
And here is Alan Massengill, who turns the wrenches on this car. Have you had communication with Greg?
Yeah, he's okay. This is bad. I mean, we've had a few controversies with the 10 car in the past. It's a bad break for the Vortec-fired Pontiac. We're still looking for sponsorship. Just can't get the thing rolling. It looks pretty bad on the right front suspension. We're going to try to get it back in. We need some points.
All right, and Alan, you said there was contact with the 10 car there.
Yeah, I think the 10 turned us in the wall there. Damn it.
Well, that's how it goes. We'll have to see if the video can support that.
So there they are. He's out of the car and helping to get things hooked up in the front, and off we go. And the Field continues to circulate under yellow. Let's take another look at it. There he is, the number 33.
The 33 there. As they come out of the corner, this is him right here. You see Silsky in the 10 on the right-hand corner. You're exactly right. I saw the red top and the white back on the car. As they come off, watch Stewart now. You see the 10 car all the way to the outside wall. He makes contact right there, and then wobbles over and gets into the 33 on the right rear corner. That sets him right up in the outside wall.
So Matt Sealski, drifting to the driver's right on the restart, contacts the wall. The front end snaps out and caught the back end of the 33. And Mr. Stewart's going to go over there and have a word. Look at that.
Well, he didn't see that Sealski had gotten the back of the car into the outside wall. I'm sure he did not mean to do that. And if Stewart sees the replays, he'll know too.
So Francesco Gadesi, who was about 6 cars a little further back in the serial, was clear in this instance in the sense that it wasn't him that got into him, it was Matt Sealski, but the end result is the same. Number 33 is retired for the night and none too happy about it. You can see him walking back, and we'll wait and see what race control has to say about how long this yellow is going to go on. The service vehicles are still down in the corner. And there you see the 33 is now up on the hook and about to move away. Last few races for Greg Stewart, 16th last time out, 33rd the time before that, 30th the time before that. He's had a couple of decent finishes, one in the top 10, that was in mid-season in June, and a couple of 11th places, but he's had some difficulty getting his season underway, as we heard from his team. The ASA officials on hand to check with him and console. Buddy Baker, sometimes you just can't be consoled.
Well, you can't, and he thinks that there was contact there without any reason for it. And Sealski definitely had the back of the car out wide, and it hit the outside wall, shooting him over in the right rear corner. And I know Matt Sealski, he would never do anything like that on purpose anyhow.
Well, he sometimes wears his emotions on his sleeve. We saw him step over there to yell into the car of Matt Sealski as he moved on by earlier this season, of course. He did more than just wave and talk. That was back in Nashville when he got the cool suit elements out of the car. Brought them over for hand delivery.
Yeah, he threw his booties first, and then he threw his he has a chest in there that cools the air going towards his helmet, and he got so mad he picked it up and threw it at the car also.
He steps away. We continue under the yellow, and we're going to take a look at that instant earlier on. This is the crash in Nashville, where you see as he gets out in the wall with Joey Clanton, and Clanton was the object of his ire just moments later.
Yes, and watch this. Okay, here we go. I have this chest, and I have somewhere I want to throw it.
But he did camouflage it very nicely. He kept it inside that door until the last possible second. Now they have the car off the track, and we check down. The pace car is off. I expect we're going to get a green this time by. Tom Powell has a look at him, and here they come. Acceleration underway. Mike Eddy attempting to go with Johnny Sauter, but look at his space. It's a car length into turn 1, but not like he did earlier.
No, and as you see the 11 car really closing in as they go down the back straightaway. Less than the car length. Mike Eddy driving very hard, closing in on the bottom side now. He's up on the quarter panel of Sauter as they come off turn 4.
He nearly made contact off the corner, but Sauter holds him off on the straightaway. Just a few feet behind Mike Garvey, who was on pole. There they are in the back straight. Did they touch there, bud?
Oh, no, they did not touch. Both have a lot of respect for each other. Mike Eddy, though, right now, pulling up even Steven now. He should be able to make the pass, but Sauter drives it way down in the corner there.
Looking from the Sauter car across. They're side by side on the back. Oh, Eddie got out there wide. He still can't get in.
Sauter's car is so strong getting in the corner, but Eddie's a little bit stronger getting off the corner. They almost made contact there, getting down in the corner. You see Mike Eddy has that preferred line, but Sauter's car just accelerates so well up off the corner.
From where he sits, you would think that Eddie was kind of in charge of the situation.
You would, and this
little...
can't last because Mike Garvey right now is trying to decide where he wants to go also, just behind him there in the number 1.
And now he tucks in behind, and Garvey moves down to the inside, taking a peek around Eddie at least. He showed him a move. Whether he tries to finish it just now is another question. I don't think he's going.
Mike Eddie now takes another run, gets a great drive up out of the corner. He's even Steven. Oh, man, they're just inches apart.
So Eddie continuing to work on the low groove, and it would appear that he has the advantage down there, but he just can't quite get it done. Sauter is fighting like a demon.
Well, Sauter's just, I'm telling you right now, that should be a pass, but watch Sauter drive so deep down in the corner, and the car sticks on the outside.
Listen to Mike Eddie's communication with his spotter upstairs.
Well, this is what sells tickets at ASA right here. Side-by-side short track racing. Eddie has the spot, though.
Does he have it now?
Oh, not quite.
I don't know. Now, look at this. Yeah, now he does. I'm not sure who's radio
Oh, boy, that's great racing, though. Here comes Sauter back on the inside, looking the 11 car, Mike Eddie over. Mike Garvey just sitting there in the best seat in the house.
Mike Eddie comes by the stripe in the lead on lap 61. That means that the first 60 went to Sauter, plus the last 170 in the race earlier this year. That's 230 consecutive laps that he led on this racetrack.
Well, he's handling perfect right on the bottom. Johnny Sauter's got a great car, though. I can't believe he could run on the outside that lap after lap after lap.
Good fight for position going on here. This is for 12. We have Joey Clanton.
Scott Hansen in the 5 there, getting great grip up off the corner. This is down the back straightaway and down into turn 3.
As I mentioned, it is the battle for 12. Clanton has it. Scott Hansen wants it. Hansen in the number 5 machine earlier this year. Didn't have much luck here. Started 19th and finished 20th. Matt Sealski is still in the hunt. He got involved in that little wreck a little while ago, running in 25th position. Matt Sealski, number 10.
And that's Russ Tuttle in the 16. He won the qualifying race last night. Johnny Spa in the 38 there.
Let's take a look at that restart a moment ago. There you see Sealski off the wall, gets in the back of Greg Stewart, and that retired him for the evening. Let's go downstairs. Bob Gerald.
Oh, we're here with Dave Liner once again. Dave, the number 10 car got into the front straightaway fence and then into the 33 car. You guys all right? Did Matt say anything?
Yeah, Matt says the car seems to be all right. Just a little body damage, knocked the left front fender in a little bit. But the car's handling pretty good, a little bit tight off, but I think we'll be all right in the end here.
You've been around ASA a little bit. You know Mr. Stewart, you know, he threw the cooler last time somebody got into him. Are you guys concerned about that at all?
No, not at all. I think it's just the heat of the battle right now, but I think everything will be all right.
All right. Sealski right now in a fight for some position on the track. Behind him is Spa, but that is not a fight for position. They're just close together in the racing serial. Spa is well ahead of him in this event. Back up front, there's Eddie trying to clear some traffic. That is the number 70 machine, Brandon Fagan, the Vortec experimental car. The front 2 people have gotten through that as they continue to deal with at least some traffic.
Yeah, they stretched it out about a 15-car length lead over a third-place car right now, so these 2 are really getting around here.
Eddie and Sauter breaking away from Garvey and Miller and Sawinski and the rest in that top 5 and then the top 10. 6th place now belongs to Mike Cope and Gary St. Amand, Robbie Pyle, Taylor, and Payne. We'll be back in just a moment as you look at the full field rundown. The opening 50 laps of the Texas Roadhouse 300, action-packed, 35 cars to the green flag, and immediately Johnny Sauter from outside pole jumps to a big advantage, while a battle for 2nd through 4th unfolds behind him. The number 1 machine, the man on pole, Mike Garvey, along with Kevin Sawinski and Mike Eddy, and that raged on for a little while. Then Eddy started to take command of things as he moved up past Sawinski first to pick up a position a little bit further back. We had a nice battle unfolding for 5th position in the event. It was Mike Cope and Butch Miller, 25 and 52. And up front, finally joining the battle for the lead, we had Eddie coming up on Sauter. They fought hammer and tong. On and on it went until they finally were able to get to the front at the 33 car on a restart, hit from the back. Sealski got a bump on Greg Stewart, and out he went, and now Sealski has been bitten by Hawkeye Downs. This is real time, and we take a look at the entire field as they stand right now, but we go from our series of replays, Buddy Baker, to the number 10 car up against the wall.
Oh, Matt Sealski got hit that time. I had my eyes right on him. Going into turn 3, he got hit in the left rear corner, and he really hit the outside wall hard. The one guy that's making a tremendous run up through there right now is Butch Miller, all the way up to 3rd spot now.
3rd position for him as we go back under yellow. We had a lot of yellow in the first event here at Cedar Rapids earlier this year. 15 different times we slowed him down for 70-some laps, and now we're getting sort of a repeat performance of that. Very difficult and tricky track. Everybody loves it, but it is a hard place to perform well. Once again, a quick review. We have Mike Eddy on the point. He's been there about 20 laps. Then Sauter, Miller, Garvey, Sawinski, the top 5. Don't go away. The Cedar River in downtown Cedar Rapids, Iowa, host city for the Texas Roadhouse 300 at Hawkeye Downs. You do get out there with a little water sport. Not quite a race boat, but certainly a fun ride there. Look at some of the activity earlier today on the Cedar River. As a matter of fact, here at Hawkeye Downs, we are operating again under the yellow flag with Mike Eddy on the point, followed by Johnny Sauter and Butch Miller. Number 16 there is Russ Tuttle. He won the qualifying race last night, started this event in the 21st position, and is now running in 15th place.
Well, it took a while, but Russ Tuttle finally won a race here in ASA, be it the qualifying race last night right here at Hawkeye Downs Speedway, but he muscled the number 16 car right to the front and was able to climb out in victory lane. And he's got quite a coach, a guy who's won races here in ASA, Glenn Allen Jr. How have you been coaching him to win one of these races?
Well, he's done an excellent job. The Conseco Mountain Dew Pontiac was awesome. We just made a bad qualifying lap, and we unloaded. We've been in the top 10 since we've been here. Russ did a great job in the 100-lapper, took his time past the cars, led a bunch of laps, and it was great for us to get to victory lane. We feel like we've got a top 5 car tonight. We've seen Mike Cope in the past come from winning the qualifier to finishing 2nd or 3rd in the race, and we feel like we've got that opportunity tonight, so we're excited with the Conseco Pontiac.
We'll see what Russ Tuttle can do from the 21st starting spot with Glenn Allen on his side.
Well, so far he has been improving himself, having one of his better rides, buddy.
Oh, he's just taking his time going up through there. You see Chris Wimmer there going back and forth.
He right now runs in the 19th position in the event. Chris Wimmer started in 20th, so he's picked up just a little bit. Now, a while ago, we saw what was a successful tire change. What's the opposite of that?
Well, a little bit earlier, we saw a professional team change a tire in about 6 seconds. But how fast is Bob Dillner? Go! We've got him on the clock. Bob's got the knee pads on. He's done this a couple times before, but the driver's frustrated. He's saying, you got to hurry up, Bob. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Not bad, 14.91.
Just bit him. Just bit him.
I tell you what, it's tougher than it looks, believe me. I did a jack thing with a bunch of people doing a pit stop. I didn't know it was that tough. It wasn't that tough when I was younger, I can tell you that.
Back under green we are, onto the front straightaway as we ride with Mike Garvey, now working in 4th position. He's won on this racetrack 3 different times and had pole for this event. Certainly not out of it, not where he wants to be though. He's not on the point. Mike Eddy has that. That's the yellow car off in the distance with Sauter tucked right under his rear wing. And the man right in front of Garvey is number 52, Butch Miller, who's marched up through there a little bit.
And Butch Miller, his car does not come in for about 8 or 10 laps. You see right now he's having all kind of trouble with Mike Garvey all over the back of the car. But Butch Miller in about 10 laps, look for him to just make a great run towards the front. Oh, he gets sideways there.
Butch Miller in the first race this year started 7th, finished in 7th, never out of contact with front really, but never in contact with being a contender really. Sauter owned that race.
Exactly right. And Butch Miller, that's a tough thing when you have a car set up for long runs and everybody else is set up for a real quick run. They can run all over you for about 10 laps and then you start moving on. But boy, it's tough when they're all over you like that.
That's a 4-car serial that's involved in a fight for 3rd. Miller, Garvey, Sawinski, and Cope all in fairly close contact. Behind Cope is Gary St. Amant in the number 7 machine, who won last time out, and he's feeling a little better about his season too.
Well, Gary St. Amant's got a lot of momentum on his side, the number 7 car, but just behind him, Robbie Powell running very well in the 63. All these cars just jammed in there together.
Robbie Powell, I saw him in the airport on the way into Cedar Rapids the other day. Seemed cool, calm, and collected, and full of confidence. Considering he finished 28th last time here, he had to wonder about that, but he's had a good race car through practice and qualifying, and now into the event. Let's go downstairs. Bob Gerald.
We're down here at the 33 car with Greg Stewart, who was knocked out of the race a little bit earlier. Greg, first of all, what happened from your standpoint, and was it hard for you to keep your cool?
Well, this is just typical for the GMH Electrical Hanson Manufacturing Pontiac this year. The past couple of months has just been unfortunate circumstances that were unavoidable to me. It was a little early in the race to be racing as hard as the 10 car was racing, and he'd already been in a couple of spins or accidents, and he stuck it on the outside of me on the restart and was just overdoing it, pushing it too hard, and got in the back of me. It's a 300-lap race. It's a long time here at Cedar Rapids, and it takes a lot of give and take. Greg's been giving too much, and he's tired of getting took, so maybe I need to start taking a little bit more from here out.
There you have it from Greg Stewart. Angry, but doing a much better job keeping his calm here tonight, guys.
Yeah. Some places they call him fighting words.
Well, I tell you, he didn't see the replays like we did. Sealski, when he hit the wall, he lost control of the car, and he didn't know where he was going to end up.
Coming up on the 100 lap mark of the event, working leader lap number 97. That's about to be completed, and now it is, as Mike Eddy flashes through, followed by Sauter and the rest of them. Although it is really not a lead serial that's any bigger than 2, they really pulled away from the rest. Those 2 working up to some traffic. They'll get there in a lap or so, buddy.
But Johnny Sauter, not used to being in this position. He's actually losing ground to Mike Eddy right now. He's dropped back about 4 or 5 car lengths, and this car of Mike Eddy's is on a rail out there.
57 career victories to go with 33 poles and 7 ASA championships. Those are the credentials of the race leader of the moment. The last time he was able to get a checkered flag first was in La Crosse in 1999. Let's go down to Bob Dillner.
Well, we're down here at Mike Eddy's pit. We're down with Bob Sensa, but Dave, who's the crew chief, this is his dad, and you've worked with Mike Eddy for a real long time. Must be good to see him up front dominating like only the polar bear can.
Yeah, it seems pretty good. Mike works hard, he races hard, and this is where he likes to run.
You know Mike for a real long time. He's not one to talk too much, but is he pretty happy inside that car right now?
Oh yeah, I think he's right in his glory right now.
I talked to Mike Eddy just a little bit before the race, and he said, Bob, I finally have a dynamite car. Myself and the crew went to Tri-City this week. We worked all week on this car. Not a part is the same from the last race, and we think we finally got a good race car. Well, you know what, guys? I think they were right.
I think they're right, but I think somebody else has a good race car, and he's checking that left rear quarter over right now. Sauter looking all over the back of Mike Eddy. I've noticed in the past 3 or 4 laps, Sauter has a little bit better car now. I don't know whether Mike Eddy's car may be losing a little bit of grip or what, but right now Sauter's a little quicker.
Here you see the space as we watch the action from on board with Johnny Sauter. It is lap number 103 we're about to record. It's a little bit away from half distance of this 300 lap race, but you have to start wondering about tires and who's wearing out what at this point.
Well, the leader usually uses a little more tire, and Sauter just got a little patient there, backed off a little bit, cooled those tires, and now he's making us off.
On the straightaway, they're picking up some more traffic. They're going to go to the high line to get around right in the middle of the corner. That's number 36, Craig Smith, that they're clearing. They have to watch him carefully. He's spun twice already. Let's go back to Bob Dillner.
Well, we're down here in the number 9 pit, and Johnny Sauter just radioed in. Whoa, we got trouble?
No, Sauter just went a little wide off 4. Go ahead, Bob.
Well, I just spoke to the crew down here, and they said Johnny is driving his heart out right now. He doesn't like to be in second place. He wants to be back in the lead, and you can tell by the video there that he wants it real bad.
He wants it real bad, and he's getting very close to making contact on Mike Eddy. Don't do that, kid.
Well,
Take your time. Do it right.
Yeah, if he swings much higher than that out of 4, he's going to make contact with the fence as well. That almost got away from him. There's number 52. That is Butch Miller running in 3rd position. Standing by, as she always does. Donna watching closely as it unfolds in front. She always looks nervous, but she seems cool.
Well, the wives always have the toughest job. Look at this. Every time that car moves on the racetrack, she stretches that cord a little more. But Butch Miller's now moving away. I told you he had a great car after 8 or 10 laps. He's stretching out a little bit. But this up here, this is going to get good.
Those two guys are turning laps 93 mile an hour plus. No one else is in that range. So between the two of them, they're fighting each other and they're pulling away from everybody else.
Yeah, and lap traffic right in front of them up here. Now, whether they get through that cleanly or not, if you have to get out of that preferred line, you could lose the lead really easy.
This is a battle that has all the earmarks of going on for more than just a little while. Sauter has had some ideas in the last few moments that he wants to get that lead back as they clear J.C. Beatty Jr. in the white 09 car and start to pick up Francesco Gaudesi and the number 2 in front of him, Chad Wood. Gaudesi has an up-and-down season with not a lot of experience, and you've got to tiptoe around those guys, buddy. Even if they're getting better, they're still not as predictable as you might like.
And what they're doing is they're taking that preferred line around the bottom part of the racetrack and making you run where your car is not exactly perfect.
So there you see the standings. We are working leader lap 112 of 300. We're at Hawkeye Downs in the Texas Roadhouse 300. It is Eddie on the points, Sauter chasing him, and a tremendous battle it is. Stay right there. Welcome back to Hawkeye Downs, the ASA AC-Delco Racing Series Championship for this year, brought to you by Fram Filters. We have a problem in front straightaway. Who's gotten sideways? The number 66 machine of Pat Kelly got sideways and slowed him down. I was just about to say, Buddy Baker, we've gone nearly 100 laps under green, and this happens.
And I think our leaders were right in the middle of that as Kelly got in trouble there in the 66 car. I know Johnny Sauter was a long time coming by after the 11 of Mike Eddy came by.
Mike Garvey running in 5th position. He's been battling hammer and tong with Kevin Sawinski over the last few minutes. Let's go downstairs to Bob Dillner.
Well, Mike Garvey says the car is very, very tight. It doesn't want to turn in the corner. So during the pit stop, the jackman, Neil Olson, is going to go underneath the rear end of the car and adjust the Panhard bar. So we will keep an eye on that when the Tecumseh number 1 comes on pit road.
So under yellow one more time, and this will be a very important few moments, Buddy Baker.
Yeah, and you see the pitman there kind of loosening up, just like all athletes do before they go into battle.
Field on the back straightaway as the teams lay out a big circular. They use the quarter-mile track on the inside of this facility. It is banked, and they're all spread out around that quarter mile, ready to go into action in just about 20 or 30 seconds from now. And a lot of those teams are talking about one stop. They'll fuel them up. They'll put right side tires and consider themselves good to go to the end.
This is going to be very critical. In the past, Mike Eddy has led coming into the pit, but he's never led coming back out.
There they go, all of them going in, 11 and 9 and 1 and 21. Mike Garvey has already stopped in his pit stall. Sawinski has stopped. Butch Miller down there at the beginning of the circle as well. We wait for them to come around, and here's Sawinski's pit stop, and he's already finished. And here comes Garvey, Bob Dillner.
Garvey's Tecumseh crew goes to work on the right side of that car. Watch jackman Neil Olson. He jacks the car up. He's going to adjust the Panhard bar to try to loosen that car up because the car is very, very tight. Butch Miller with a dynamite pit stop. He beats everybody off of pit road.
There comes Garvey out, but Butch Miller's already gone. There's Sawinski and Sauter. Johnny Sauter has been able to work traffic pretty well through the event. The 22-year-old out of Necedah, Wisconsin, the points leader. Let's take a look at a couple of the touchier moments earlier in this race, buddy.
Well, you can see right here, Sauter just behind the 11 there of Eddie. He sees trouble up in front. Now, you see right there, Sauter was almost involved in this accident. Smokestead in the 07 goes to the high side. Sauter wiggles his way through there.
This was the incident that brought the yellow out just a couple of moments ago. And until this replay, buddy, since we were blocked in our vision and in a break, I had no idea that had happened.
Well, I knew he was way behind Mike Eddy when they came by, and I knew he had to be in the vicinity of the problem there with the 66 car, but boy, was he lucky.
Now, the pit stops among the contenders have been concluded, and Sauter didn't do too well in the exchange. He lost a little space on the track. The guy who really came out of there was Miller.
Yeah, and Mike Eddy dropped all the way to 9th place, leading when he came in, comes out in 9th.
Miller on the point with the quickest pit stop. Then Garvey, he got good service. Sauter, reasonable service. He lost 1 space in the race. Zawinski came out in 4th. Then Gary St. Amant in the 5th spot. Scott Hansen up to 6th. Robbie Pyle in number 63, 7th. Then Eddie, as you mentioned. Joey Clanton is now 9th. And Mike Miller is in 10th. Clanton and Mike Miller have both made significant strides up through the field to get into the top 10.
Boy, and track position is so very, very important. Butch Miller did everything right. I tell you, he's going to be tough to beat, too. His car is really good on long runs. Now, whether he can hold off Mike Garvey on restarts, we'll wait and see.
We're just about done with this round of pit stops, and we're waiting for a signal from race control how much longer it is going to be. We're working leader lap 127. Early in the second 50-lap segment, there you see Mike Eddy in a hammer and tong battle that lasted a good long time. He gets to the front. Butch Miller, meantime, climbing through the pack, gets by Mike Garvey there. He makes him a victim, as he had done to so many earlier. Sawinski and Garvey in a tremendous head-to-head battle during that period of time. You see, we did go to yellow during that 50 laps. And then back to the green as Tom Powell turns him loose again. And look at the space Johnny Sauter had to deal with at times up to Mike Eddy. Although, Buddy Baker, he did get right back up to him around lap 100 or so, and almost looked like he was going to pick up the lead for a moment.
You know what, Chris? It's a new ball game, though. Everybody's made adjustments, air pressure adjustment. Now we'll see who really has the muscle and the intelligence to go at it now after they've made the changes.
There you see the full field summary, ticking them off 1 through 35. That's what started the event. We haven't had a terrifically high rate of attrition. We have unofficially 5 out of the race, so still 30 out there running. A lot of them are lap traffic at this point as we pass the 1/3 distance in the event, coming up on halfway. But nonetheless, they are staying out there and they're running hard. And there you see are the contenders. Number 21, Kevin Sawinski, fighting his fight right now from 4th. Let's go to Bob Gerald.
And as we highlight some of the different crew members, here's front tire changer Dan Miller. On that last stop, crew chief Mike Chaffee shaking his head afterwards. He didn't seem like he was happy. How'd it go from your standpoint?
The front stop went really good. I mean, I thought the whole stop in general was pretty good. The guys in the rear were a little bit behind us, so this is pretty much going to be a one-stop race, we're guessing. And it's one stop means everything to us. So.
And we're back with the hammers down now as everybody comes back up to speed, Chris.
Full throttle on the back straightaway. Look at Garvey coming after Butch Miller right off the bat.
Yep, Butch Miller fights back on the outside. Garvey picks up the throttle. They're almost side by side as they come down the front straightaway.
Garvey running in second, and now he's got him, I do believe, as they go into turn number 1. And Sauter down underneath Butch Miller, trying to fight his way into second, and he gets it as they pull off the corner onto the back straight. Here comes Sawinski, so Butch Miller is suddenly getting moved back in a hurry.
His car is not good on, we talked about that before. It takes about 10, 12 laps for that car to come in. He's losing spot after spot. There goes Sawinski by. Now Gary St. Amant, the 7 moves by.
And Scott Hansen is lurking right there. He's got to get his car working pretty sooner. He's going to be too far back to put up a fight against anybody. Right now he's already dropped to 4th officially, and St. Amant may have him in just a second. And now maybe Gary's going to have to give up the fight and drop back into line.
Well, Gary St. Amant waits on good opportunities, and he can see Butch Miller has a good car. He knows these guys can work back up through traffic, so I'm not worried about Butch Miller. He's got a great car on long runs.
Sauter has an idea against Mike Garvey. Let's go to Bob Dillner.
Well, crew chief Joe Shear, you got a good car, but Johnny, how did he avoid that incident?
Everything happened so fast, there was nothing we could do. That was all pure talent.
Johnny Sauter definitely has a lot of raw talent, but you know what? This AP Plasma team is pretty darn good, too.
Yeah, they're good, but when it comes down to those instinct things and reaction time, you don't teach it.
Let's talk about good. Just in front of Johnny Sauter right there, Mike Garvey, 3-time winner here. That car is getting great forward bite up out of the corner right now. Sauter's going to have to work very, very hard to get by him.
He won in September of '99, twice in 2000, and was on the podium in April here. Butch Miller is now settled down, it would appear, into the 4th position. So he didn't go back as far as we thought he might off that restart. He settles into 4th with Gary St. Amant right on his hip. There you see him, in fact, launching a bit of a counterattack against Sawinski. Let's go to Bob Jarrell.
And we're here with crew chief Chip Caputo. It looks like you guys have a little bit of trouble on the starts, and then you get going. Why is that?
Well, right now the Meyer Pontiac's running okay. It's just on low air pressure right now. It'll take a few laps for it to build up. We'll be okay in the long run.
It looked like Butch was able to use the outside groove maybe a little bit better than some of the other guys. Is that something you have up your sleeve for later in the race?
Yeah, it is. We'll see how it works out later.
Chip's got that poker face.
Yeah.
Well, they better all get going because Mike Eddy's also moving just behind Gary St. Amant, the 11 car, back on the go again.
So here they go into the corner once again. St. Amant with Mike Eddy just behind him, as Buddy mentioned. We'll have to wait and see if he can fight his way back to the front. That's got to be horribly frustrating. I mean, you've been around as long as he has. You've been through it before. That doesn't make it any easier.
The one thing he knows is he has the car to beat. If he can just take his time, work this traffic, he has a car that runs right on the bottom. He's gotten by Scott Hansen already in the 5 car, and he's right on Gary St. Amant's back bumper.
And more importantly, or at least as important, he is maintaining a reasonable space to the front, which now is Sauter at the point with Garvey in 2nd position. Let's go to Bob Dillner.
We're down here at Mike Garvey's pit. We told you they made a big chassis adjustment. Neil Olson, you were the man that made the chassis adjustment, but you also have to be the jack man. How tough is that?
It's not too terribly bad. We actually practiced this in pit stop practice. Basically, all I had to do was put 4 turns into the pattern bar to raise that. Car's quite a bit tight from the center off. We're hoping to get that freed up here. Back to 2nd place now, but hopefully we can get it towards the end of the race.
Well, Neil just told me, does anybody have anything for that number 9 car? I don't know about it, buddy.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Somebody that's on the move, the 11, Mike Eddy, just passed Gary St. Amant on the outside. Very tough to do. That car is dialed in.
And he's going after Butch Miller immediately. Meantime, a little while ago, this was for 5th place. Now it is for 2nd place as Garvey and Sawinski get side by side through the corner. And Sawinski down to the inside of Garvey as we ride with him, the man who was on pole. He doesn't have it yet.
And while they fight side by side, they're losing time right now to the leader, Sauter. He's moving away, but it's bringing Mike Eddy right up on their back bumper. That yellow car is flying around this racetrack.
He's gotten up into that fight. Butch Miller is the guy that Eddy wants next, just ahead there. You see them in the background as for the moment Garvey has held off Sawinski, and here comes Butch Miller. This is a good 4-car fight, seesaw battle, and it has a lot to do with who's on whose hip and who can get a fender by. Oh. And they come up on the 4 machine. That was Mark Cole. They all got it through him with dispatch, and now they go to work against each other. There's the leader, Johnny Sauter, with Garvey, Sawinski, Miller, and Eddy, the top 5. That looks a lot like the car he was driving in the opening segment of the race. Johnny Sauter driving away from the rest of them. We'll see if that lasts. Coverage of the 2001 ASA AC-Delco Racing Series Championship is being brought to you by Fram Filters. Pay a little more now. Texas Roadhouse 300, laps 100 through 150. Great battle between Johnny Sauter and Mike Eddy at the point. Eddy had it for a good long time. Meantime, behind them, teammates Sawinski and Garvey, hammer and tong at this point. That was for 5th place. Then, out of shape, the number 66 machine of Pat Kelly. Johnny Sauter, great avoidance, great instinct, great reaction, kept the car in the race. Number 52, Butch Miller, after the pit stop, to the front with brilliant pit work. But Mike Garvey storms beneath him into the lead. Johnny Sauter had his car in full song quickly. He stormed into the lead from Garvey, and that's where we stand as Sauter continues to leg it out in front with Eddy from 8th to 2nd, Butch. Buddy Baker?
Yes, he is. He's flying, Mike Eddy is, but he has a lot of ground to make up. Sauter's made some changes on that last pit stop. This helped his car also. The two cars running very evenly, but the ground that he had to make up, Eddy I'm talking about, but it's about 7-8 seconds right now between first and second.
So we'll see if he can make that up. And as we look at the full field summary, I'll give you a couple of numbers. Johnny Sauter jumped to the lead at the beginning, led until about lap 60. That's when Eddy caught him and finally got into the lead. Up until that point, Sauter had everything covered. It was his race, it looked like. Then he came back to the field a little bit. Is that going to happen again? We'll wait and see. Meantime, buddy, how close has it been behind him?
Butch Miller in the 52 there gets into Garvey on the left rear corner. And that's just when you go to the outside and you don't realize that the guy's down below you like that. There's a blind spot there, and Garvey didn't see the 52 of Butch Miller just pulled down on him.
Scott Hansen, you see the white number 5 machine trying to launch an attack on Butch Miller, who currently rides in 5th. There is Garvey and Miller. Miller going against Garvey. Now that's for position. Miller wants 4th place from Mike Garvey.
Well, it looks like Butch Miller's car is starting to come in now. It takes a few laps, and we heard it was tire pressure. It had to get just right for Butch Miller to have a good car. Long runs, he's been good. Now he's working on Mike Garvey. Looks to be a little bit quicker.
And off the corner, it looks like he may have the position. Well, maybe not. Another corner or two. They're side by side. There's Hansen right behind it. Robbie Pyle looking from just a few more feet away. Let's go to Bob Dillner.
Well, we look at Robbie Pyle chasing down Scott Hansen, but Scott Hansen has moved from 19th all the way up into the 6th spot. But you know what? He wasn't running in the top 10 until that pit stop. John Waters, you're the tire carrier. How the heck did Scott get in the top 10 all of a sudden?
Well, we're just sat down before the race. We decided that we needed good pit stops to get him towards the front track position. So we hope to get the structural transport Victor Ford Taurus up to the front.
And look at this, the crew having a lot of fun here in the pits, even though it's an intense situation. A dynamite pit stop for Scott Hansen has got him up into the top 6.
A word from Little John there, and there we see the battle still working as Garvey now has his hands full with Scott Hansen, who's just behind him. That is a battle for 5th. Hansen wants it, Garvey has it. There's the leader.
Want to talk about having it. This guy right here has it. Johnny Sauter's car is absolutely perfect at the moment. I'm watching. He is actually stretching away now from second.
So we're well past halfway. We've got 168 laps done with Johnny Sauter, number 9, on the point. This is a bid for win number 7 of this season. Can he do it? Well, don't leave us, because in a little while we're going to know there are a couple of other people who might get it too. Full moon over the Midwest, Hawkeye Downs, and now we have contact on the track. There you see Russ Tuttle. He's just been smacked by the 09 of J.C. Beatty. Now, I was about to tell you, we are under yellow. Those two cars off turn number 2 were in close proximity to each other. J.C. Beatty got turned around backward, and that drew the yellow. And apparently there's a little bit of anger and frustration being vented down there, Buddy Baker, because that quick cut to those two cars together, that was real time. Let's see what happened there.
Okay, Beatty gets into Tuttle there, the 16, and behind him you can see everybody trying to check up. Tuttle, I guarantee you, that's a big boy to be pumping around on the infield like that.
Let's go to Bob Gerald.
Well, here's the 25 of Mike Cope, who has come in with damage to the front end. He's just got a little bit of a fender bender there. They just tried to lift it up, probably to help the aero a little bit, and the 25 is back out. I don't know if there's any significant damage there. We'll check up on it and give you a further report in a moment.
Well, we got some pit stops underway among non-contenders. There you see Cope ripping around the track to get back in line. You saw a quick glimpse there of the pace car with Johnny Sauter just behind.
And while we're talking about smooth moves, the 9 of Sauter acted like he was going into pits, and Eddy thought he was going in, and he pulled in the pits, and Sauter went right back out on the racetrack.
Let's go to Bob Dillner.
Big time trouble for Mike Garvey. Scott Hansen overshot his pit. Mike Garvey had to go way past his pit stall. The crew going to work on the right side of that car. Bon Suss, Mike Reesop, Neil Olson, and the boys trying to get back out, but a very long pit stop for Mike Garvey and another chassis adjustment for that Tecumseh team.
J.C. Beatty, in a spin, he was in proximity with Russ Tuttle, and I suppose the possibility exists that Tuttle bumped him. Let's take a look at how it started and see if we can detect anything there, buddy.
Yeah, there was contact right there. The 16 of Russ Tuttle got into the 09 of Beatty there. That's off turn 2.
And then a little while later, this is what happened. Here comes Tuttle up on J.C. Beatty, under caution at reduced speed.
Oh!
Boom. Take that. Let's go to Bob Dillner. Bob Dillner, are you there?
Scott Hansen is back on pit road. Some big-time troubles after this crew got him back out on the track in a top 10 finishing position. But Scott Hansen came on pit road. The crew changed 2 right side tires. As he left the pit area, he broke the axle. That is John Benke working on the left rear right now. They're going to change the axle on that car and get Scott Hansen back out. But a good finish, no way for Scott Hansen today.
So suddenly, the contenders are running into some attrition problems of varying sorts. Scott Hansen, Garvey, Sauter seems secure at the moment. Sawinski is now inherited second place under the yellow. And we have Butch Miller in third. They stayed out. St. Amant in fourth. And Robbie Pyle, number 63, who ran 28th in the first event here earlier this year, is in the 5th position. There you see the work on Scott Hansen's car underway.
Probably one of the most boring team scorer, recording the lap every time the car goes by the start-finish line, especially if you're Scott Hansen's fiance, Nancy. So what is it like having to score for your future husband?
I get very nervous because even that couple seconds to write down the number, I feel like I'm missing something and something could happen, and so it gets hard.
And you know, these two are going to be wed on August 18th, so Scott can be a tough guy, but you know what? She does a darn good job.
And right now, in spite of the repair that has to be done, hard at work and looking a little grim right there, Buddy Baker. Not happy for her man.
Well, and she sees him sitting there, and they still hadn't got the axle out. You see them using the axle puller, and they're jerking on it, trying to get it out of the housing there.
So that work continues. We continue under the yellow, and Johnny Sutter continues to run on the point. Now this one might be a little bit aggravating, even for a cool customer like Sutter. He'd built his lead out to 8 full seconds, and now that, of course, has gone away.
Well, and he's out there on older tires because a lot of people behind him are on the lead lap did get fresh rubber on. Now, whether he'll be able to hold them off or not, track position, very important here. Remember that.
One of those that came into the pits and gave up some track position to get some new rubber beneath was Mike Eddy. Running in second, he moves back to 7th, but he gets fresher tires. And there you see Mike Cope. He's gotten back out onto the track. Let's check back in with Bob Gerald. Bob Gerald, are you there?
We will find out exactly what happened to Mike Cope. Here's Ken Lund. First of all, how did he get the front end smashed up?
I don't exactly know the details, but it sounds like there was a lap car in the way when we're trying to make our pits come into the pit entrance, and he ran in the back end of a 16 car.
How frustrated was Mike after that? He say anything?
Well, yeah, it was kind of quick thinking. You know, first we were going to make a pit stop, and we obviously couldn't do that, what we planned on doing, but we had to fix the hood first and get back out and then do our stop. So, you know, the Florida auction car, red line oil car, I mean, we'll be all right.
All right, so a little bit of damage for Mike Cope, but hopefully nothing too serious, guys, for that Charger.
So Mike Cope in a situation that he had not anticipated. He's been running as high as 5th place. Let's take a look at what happened. There it is. Boom. Boy, he really whacked him. So there they go. Cope goes into it. And once again, Buddy Baker, we revisit J.C. Beatty.
It does not change very much. Tuttle gets in the back of the 09 of Beatty there, and as they come around, Beatty just riding along, da-da-da, da-da-da. Here he is. I think I'll make a right turn right on this wheel. Thank you very much. Boom, and around goes Tuttle in the 16.
So they got it all squared away, and they charge the line again. The green flag is out. There goes Johnny Sauter. He's got some space back to the 2nd place car and some traffic protecting him, at least for the moment. 2nd place belongs to number 21, Kevin Sawinski. Down the back straightaway they go, and in that serial, Sawinski is now the 3rd car He still has one to get by. I believe that's the number 2 of Chad Wood. And if he gets through there, then he can try and draw a bead on Sauter.
Well, it won't take very long, I don't think, to get by the 6 car as they come down the back straightaway. But you can see right now, Sawinski on the outside, very fast car. And Sauter has opened up about a 9-car length lead over second place.
Well, he built it up to 8 seconds before that last yellow. We talked about the pit stop and what he might have done, buddy, but apparently what happened in the first stint isn't going to happen this time.
No, and Gary St. Amant in that 7 car there moved all the way up to 4th right now. He's on the go.
He's looking to get a bead on Butch Miller, the 52, who is right there on Sawinski's hip at the moment. So there's a little bit of traffic. Then those two, Sawinski and Miller, and then St. Amant, who has cleared the traffic and now moving right up on Butch Miller. So we've got a good 3-car battle going for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, with Sauter increasing his lead at the point. 188 laps are concluded of a scheduled 300. It's a beautiful night in Iowa. Stay with us. We've got a ways to go before we have a verdict. The official lighting provider to TNN Sports in this telecast is Musco. Musco, the leader in sports lighting. We're at Hawkeye Downs. It is the Texas Roadhouse 300. We've now done 196 laps, and we are back under yellow as the 07 machine of Ted Smokestadt got wide in 4, and I believe he got up against the wall, didn't he, buddy?
We're going to find out right now. You can see several cars involved there. As Smokestadt went up to the high side there, the number 2 of Wood slides into this soft wall there. We were glad to see that at that part of the racetrack.
Number 2, Chad Wood, has gone into the pits. He may have been involved. Bob Gerald's there.
And they are working right now. It looks like pretty routine stuff all the way around. Now they are checking out the hood as things aren't quite square there at the front on the 2 car of Chad Wood out of Madison, Wisconsin. They're going to get out the old high-speed tape, a little orange duct tape for you here tonight, buddy. Special just for that paint job. And then I think Wood will be back out there.
Yeah, and he was glad to see there are several places on this racetrack they have a soft wall application, and that was one of them. That car wouldn't be going if it was the hard wall.
Let's go back downstairs. Bob Dillner.
Well, Mike Eddy has dropped on the inside of Johnny Sauter. He will be bringing that Kellogg Chevrolet onto pit road the next time around. Mike came in on the last caution to change left side tires. The BF Goodrich tire was graining a lot. The BF Goodrich guy told me he thinks they have a tow out condition. It was making the car push. So that's why Mike Eddy is headed back down pit road. It's a long, long drive for each and every person that comes down here, but the crew is awaiting. Here he comes. Mike Eddy pulls on the pit road. Why come in again? Mike said, listen, we're trapped in the back half of the top 10. I want more rubber. I want to win this race. So the crew is going to work changing right side tires right now. He is down and Mike Eddy is away. Bobby Gerald.
And Mike Cope also coming in to get some quick service. The last time he changed right sides, this time it was left sides, and it was a quick stop for Mike Cope in the 25.
Russ Tuttle also into the pits in that short round involving 3 cars. The Hansen car is still getting service for the broken axle down there. So we're just going to have to wait and see if he's able to rejoin the fight. Giving up track position, Mike Eddy, in order to get fresh rubber beneath. We're going to find out in a while if it pays off. Sometimes your fortunes at the track demand explanation. Sometimes explaining isn't too easy.
One of the biggest surprises in ASA this year, Mike Hope hasn't won a race yet. And you know what? He's getting a lot of pressure from his crew and his biggest supporter, 13-year-old son Travis. And Travis, you've been racing a little bit yourself this year, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been racing some motocross this year, and I've won a few races already. And I think that it's time for my dad to step up to the plate and win a few himself.
Well, Mike's got a long way to go to catch up to Travis. He's won 7 races so far this year.
I suspect Mike knows all about that, and he'd just soon go ahead and answer his son with a yeah, I did win.
You know what? Mike Garvey's kid is going to pass his driver's test on Tuesday to start running quarter midgets.
Is that right?
I'm telling you, these guys, all these kids are racers, believe me. They start now when they're 5 years old.
Robbie Pyle from Columbus, Indiana, is running in the 5th position. He's had a quiet top 5 run so far, Bob Gerald.
And we're down here with Dina Cumbo, who is the daughter of the crew chief, Bob Cumbo. And tell me, Dina, how are things going from your perspective here tonight?
They're going pretty good. We're running pretty strong right now, just trying to take care of the car, take care of the tires and the brakes. That's real important there at the end.
What specifically is your duty here tonight?
Here tonight I'm doing the catch can during pit stops, and I'm in charge of the stats during the race. Anything they say over the radio, I have to write down.
I think the catch can and the stats a little bit of a step up from holding that stop sign, right?
Yeah, it is.
You're working your way up, be changing tires in no time, huh?
Yeah, right.
That's Dina Cumbo down here rooting on Robbie Pyle in the 63.
Well, he's running a good solid 5th, and he is right now 5th in the serial on the track. The yellow car you see is the 4 machine of Mark Cole, and he's going to peel off and get out of the way. The top 5 in the race when they restart a lap from now will be the top 5 in the serial. Meantime, the last 50 laps of this event that brought us up to lap number 200, we have Butch Miller at the point working on Mike Garvey. The 09 meantime of J.C. Beatty up into the wall. That touched off a couple of yellow flag situations. There was payback for that just a moment later. Meantime, under the caution, we had an incident on pit in as Mike Cope got up behind Mike Garvey and whacked him. They both went into the pits to get necessary repairs. We don't know if their cars were damaged too significantly. There is the pit stop involving Cope. That was the repair and response to that bump. And Johnny Sauter leading on the restart. And then we had the 2-car, Chad Wood, and the 07 also involved Ted Smokestadt that brought out this latest yellow. And now, Buddy Baker, we get back to the business at hand, and that is racing. Now there's another look at the Cope and Garvey incident just a moment ago. And now we get back to some racing on this track as they bunch it up.
Not quite. We have another yellow on the racetrack.
And we have debris they discovered over in turn number 1. Now, that's too big a piece of debris to be overlooked. Something happened just at the restart that we saw just a moment ago. Bob Dillner.
We're down here at Scott Hansen's pit, and they're putting the tire back on the car, but let me show you how badly bent this axle is. Take a look at this. Straight here, then it goes for a little bit of a wave and right back inside. That axle bent really, really bad. Scott's car is still here, but Scott is not. He has left the racetrack. He is so fed up, he doesn't want to even be here right now.
And they had a good run going, there's no doubt about that. And disappointment for Scott Hansen. The first time here, he started 19th, finished in 20th position. Cedar Rapids has not been good for Scott Hansen this year. So we're back under yellow before we even get back to speed. Sauter on the point, followed by Sawinski, Miller, St. Amant, and Pyle. We're working leader lap 205. And the riddle to be solved by just about everybody. Can you stop Sauter tonight? I don't know if they can, but we got a couple of candidates. Come back with. Welcome back to Hawkeye Downs. We're on leader lap 208. When they get to the front straightaway, they're going to see the green flag one more time. Let's go to Bob Dillner.
Bobby Gerald down here right now with Bill McGowan, who is the crew chief for the number 7 of Gary St. Amant. Only 1 pit stop so far. Is that the way it's going to stay for you guys?
That's the way it's going to be. And we're fighting a loose race car, and we don't have a lot of time to fix it. So make problems a little worse. Got a little vibration right now, so we got our fingers crossed.
All right, so they have their hands full right now. St. Amant running in the 4th position. Looks like he's running pretty strong, though, Chris, closing up on the 52.
Oh, they're right there. Go ahead, bud.
And Kevin Sawinski fighting on the bottom side of the racetrack, actually closing in on Sauter. Looks to be able to hold that white line just a little tighter than the 9. Now, as they go along, Sauter's car gets a little bit better. But right at the moment, Sawinski putting a lot of pressure on our leader.
Then there's a little break. Butch Miller runs in 3rd with St. Amant right on his hip. He got a pretty good restart, but those guys are getting left a little bit behind. And the battle for 5th and 6th, Garvey just took it from Robbie Pyle. So Garvey, the man from pole, who has had trouble leading this race, has fought his way back into 5th, and he still is a contender on leader lap 211. It's scheduled for 300. Onto the front straightaway. There you see the space between the front 2. Sawinski was running as high as he qualified 3rd, and he was a contender the whole night, right at the front of the first race here at Cedar Rapids, and then got out of shape in 4 with some help and finished well down the field the first race. He may feel like this place owes him one.
I'll say one thing, though. He is really at the moment every bit as good as Johnny Sauter in the corner. I believe Johnny Sauter's car has a little bit better drive out of the corner, but as far as the middle part of the corner and all, the 2 cars very evenly matched.
So So Sawinski continues to roll along just behind, although not as close as he was a couple of laps ago. Slowly, Sauter is inching away, and I mean inching. There is no big breakaway in the cards right now, not like Sauter showed us a little while ago.
Well, they can breathe easy just for a second because there's lap traffic just in front of them that'll come into play in just laps from now. Probably 3 or 4 laps, they'll be in heavy lap traffic.
Joey Clanton and Mike Eddy, this is 7th and 8th position between the two. Eddy has it, and he's got the freshest rubber in the top 10.
Yeah, he started back at 10th. He's cut off a couple of guys right now. The right sides are very important on short track. You see much quicker than Joey Clanton through the center part of the corner. Mike Eddy on a run right now, but he's way back in the pack.
Trying to reel in Robbie Pyle, who's been relegated to 6th position by Mark Garvey. There you see him pulling away from Clanton as they get off the straightaway. It'll bunch down just a little bit, and Robbie Pyle isn't all that far away. He may get to him before too very long and get around. There is the race leader as Johnny Sauter gets around Chad Wood one more time. We've got a lot of battles for position. We've got Eddy on the move. We've got Sauter on the point, and the rest of the contenders are well-known names. Don't go away. This is going to be a shootout before it's done. Hawkeye Downs, Chris McClure alongside Buddy Baker, Bob Gerald and Bob Dillner manning the pits for us this evening. There's the blue number 9. He is in first. There's the number 11. Since we left you, he's picked up a couple of spots, and he is just flying.
Started back in 10th after changing for right side tires, but he's already back up to 5th. He just got by Mike Garvey. He has the wick turned up on that 11 car.
Kevin Sawinski running in the 2nd position, but you can see the space that's grown there, about 6 car lengths between the leader and himself. He just gets further and further back. It isn't big chunks, but it's a little bit each lap, Buddy Baker. He's just losing ground on the guy in front of him.
He is losing ground, and Butch Miller's gaining ground on him. It won't be long before he has a lot of company.
Bob Gerald.
Mike Chappie, what's it going to take for Kevin Sawinski to catch up to Sauter?
Boy, I don't know if we have anything for Johnny or not. Car is really tight when we pick up the throttle. We can maybe hang with them, but it's almost impossible to pass the guy here when the car's doing that.
You are so focused, and we saw you really animated after the pit stop. You were not happy. What happened?
No, I don't know. We worked so hard at it, and it just seems like we keep struggling, and the pit stops are so important. You know, the one team, they made up a ton of spots, and I'm just real competitive, so a little disappointed.
Mike also has his young daughter, Allie, up here on the box with him tonight, just helping him out.
Well, Kevin Sawinski continues to soldier along in 2nd position. You know, buddy, this race, this place was important to his championship in 1997. He won here that year. He's led 234 laps in 9 different starts over the course of the years on this track, but not tonight. You know, 100 feet or so, he could be in the lead, but that's a tough 100 feet.
Yeah, that number 9 car, boy, that's like looking at a 40-foot wave when you see him in front of you up there. Johnny Sauter does not make any mistakes. 23 years old, way beyond his years as far as the way he runs through traffic, the way he knows about the race cars. He's just amazing when you watch him in a long race.
This is for position. Robbie Pyle trying to take 6th place away from Mike Garvey, whose car may be going off a little bit in the midst of this relatively long run under green. Pyle in the 63, stuck on the outside lane on his hip. He's almost running out of space on that straightaway. That's a good fight.
Well, Garvey's car right now is not handling at all. You can see right there, Pyle much quicker on the outside, and that's not the preferred line. If you can pass the guy on the outside, you definitely have a better handling race car.
Also closing on and trying to join that fight is Joey Clanton, the yellow car just behind, and Mike Cope, now running in the 9th spot, is within view of all of this, and it looks as though Pyle may have gotten around him now as they come back in front of the grandstand. Yeah.
See Joey Clanton now looking at Mike Garvey. He's trying to pass him also. Boy, I tell you what, when you start having a little bit of handling problem, everybody, it seems like, just lines up to pick on you a little bit.
And here comes Clanton in the corner, not quite there to make a move, but it won't be long. He's been gaining ground, and there's Cope right there.
Mike Cope fighting back in the 25, front end all beat up on that car. You can see it flapping in the breeze, but he's got her turned up to full handle now.
Joey Clanton, who was 12th in the event here in April, has had some good moments on this track, but that was one of his more disappointing nights, I think. Trying to get back and stay in the fight in terms of the championship. He's right there, but wins is what's going to do it for somebody down the stretch, I would think.
Looking at Joey Clanton drive in there, you see Beatty, who was involved in a little hit and run just a little while ago in the 09, hugging around the bottom side Joey Clanton. They changed that race car all over for people that just joined the broadcast. They changed this car all over last night. Every spring, every shot. Seems to be coming to him just a little bit now. The car getting a little bit better.
Johnny Sauter continuing to expand his lead at the point with Sawinski running secure and strong in the second spot. Butch Miller is third. A fight for fourth is developing. Here comes Mike Eddy against Gary St. Amant.
Gary St. Amant says his car is very loose right now. They can't come in and lose track position. Mike Eddy on fresher tires. This shouldn't take very long.
We'll wait and see how Mike Eddy is able to negotiate the fight with Gary St. Amant. We're working leader lap 240. When Sauter gets around, there he goes across the stripe. We've got 60 laps to go.
60 laps to go, but anything can happen on a short track. You can run in one corner, somebody drop a little bit of fluids down on the racetrack, you slide out a little bit, and everybody's right back on your back bumper.
About a quarter lap behind Sauter is this fight for the fourth position between Eddy and Gary St. Amant. So everybody involved has some serious real estate to gobble up if they're going to get to the leader, assuming it stays green.
Yeah, I'm watching Gary St. Amant there. He just pulls over and lets Eddy go to the outside. He knows he has fresher rubber. Oh, they make contact. The 94 car up against the inside there, almost contact there as they were fighting for position.
Paul Payne was the one stationed to cross that low lane down there in the 94 machine.
And there's the reason. Left rear tire's blown out on the 94 Payne.
So he stops everything again as we go under yellow, and there goes that Johnny Sauter lead, and that rewrites the script entirely. Let's review the top five. Sauter, Sawinski, Miller, St. Amant, and Eddy. We're at the Texas Roadhouse 300. There you see the lap count at the top of the graphic. 242 of 300 are gone. We'll be right back. Just a moment ago, Mike Garvey into the pits. We saw his ill-handling car. The yellow came out, and Buddy decided to take advantage of it.
Well, he took on right side there, and he's back out, but he's coming back in the pits again.
Or maybe he'll change the other side in terms of the rubber beneath the car or make a further adjustment. So Mike Garvey, we believe he is on pit road, as a matter of fact. As they come around, he is around there and approaching his pit stall. Got Johnny Spa just in front of him as he's also making a pit stop. Let's go down to the pits.
Well, Mike Garvey pulls the Tecumseh Chevrolet onto pit road. The crew goes underneath the rear end of the car to make another chassis adjustment. This shows just how much this team wants to win. They don't want just a top five finish. Mike told me before the race, we are going to do everything possible to beat Johnny Sauter and get a win out here at Hawkeye Downs, a track that they have been so successful at. They are done with the chassis adjustment. Mike Garvey back out. We will see if that helps him.
It looked like they were pulling on a spring rubber out of the left rear of the car to make an adjustment to make the car maybe a little bit better in the center part of the corner. So if it is indeed that, he could work his way back towards the front.
Well, he beat the field back onto the track, so he's going to get around on him and save his lead lap. We had a look there at Johnny Sauter, the race leader, and now laps 200 through 250. Well, Sauter on the point with Kevin Sawinski right behind him. They broke away from just about everybody else. Good battle for third shaped up behind him. Butch Miller in the number 52 machine, the Myers machine, and the wins car of Gary St. Amant. Then we saw Mike Eddy legging it out and moving up the field. Here he gets by Mike Garvey, and of course we've seen Garvey go to the pits to try and fix the car. Then Robbie Powell went by for sixth position. Garvey going backward just too fast, and that's why he got the extra service and the extra tires in the adjustment. Battle for fourth. This was Gary St. Amant and Mike Eddy. They just barely got past the spinning Paul Payne, and they are still in the race.
I was just told something I had to chuckle a little bit. Number 9 driver, Johnny Sauter, called his crew and said, "I'm on cruise control." Well, we'll see about that. A lot of times it may be easy on a 10 or 15 lap run, but hey, it's a new game. Like you said, We're going back in here. We're very close to 50 laps to go.
Had a lot of yellow, and that's not unusual for this track as we get ready to go back to green. Also, I think it's been beneficial to the drivers as we get the green, because it's a hot night out there, and a little rest now and then certainly doesn't hurt. Into turn number 1 they go. Sawinski right with him. Also Butch Miller, Gary St. Amant, and Mike Eddy. All 5 of them starting about equally, but Sauter pulls away a little on that straight.
It takes Sauter just about 4 or 5 laps to really get full head of steam again. Gary St. Amant, on the other hand, has his hands full with Mike Eddy just back there. You can see the yellow car coming up there, trying to take that spot away as they go side by side off the corner.
And side by side onto the straightaway. We have completed 250 laps. There are less than 50 to go. Eddie's got the spot from Gary St. Amant. He now runs in 4th position. His next target, 52, Butch Miller, his old adversary.
Well, it's going to get tough. The closer you get to the top of the ladder, the rock, you know, it just gets a little tougher. and right now, Mike Eddy has really turned it up. And the good part about it, he's less than a half a turn back from Johnny Sauter.
J.C. Beatty has looped out on the course in the yellow, immediately displayed. So we go to green. Eddie picks up a spot. Sauter still leads, and we go to yellow.
I'll explain the 9 car, Johnny Sauter, really had to whoa up in a hurry there before Beatty got back under go.
And so they slow them down one more time as they're gathered up by the Vortec-powered GM Trailblazer that is the official ASA pace vehicle. And we have seen a lot of that vehicle this evening. There you see the top 10 standings and more. Stay with us. Buddy and I will be right back. We're a couple of laps away from getting back to the green. Johnny Sauter weaving back and forth, keeping the tires at temperature and clean as they wait for the restart. A little while ago, the yellow flag came out for a spin by J.C. Beatty Jr.
Looked like he and Paul Payne in the 94 may have had a little contact getting in the corner there.
Well, J.C. Beatty's had contact with more than one person here this evening. There was a payback a little
Mike
while
Pope
ago.
all
Mike
by
Pope.
himself there, just goes around Tim Taylor in the 28, able to avoid on the low side.
Cope still on the lead lap. He came into the pits while we were gone. So did Mike Garvey. 1 lap to go, and we'll be back at the green. Garvey getting another adjustment in the pits. Now, he is on the lead lap in 12th position. Let's go down to Bob Dillner.
Well, Mike Garvey came onto pit road, which seemed like the millionth time during this race. It was actually the 3rd time in the past 10 laps or so. Like I said before, these guys want to win. They don't want to finish 2nd spot. They made some more chassis adjustments to that car as we go green once again.
Here they come, charging down the straightaway. Crowd on its feet, yelling and screaming. The Texas Roadhouse machine of Kevin Sawinski's hanging in there. The Tecumseh machine running into difficulty. And the 9 machine seems to have it covered. He says he's on cruise control. He's cool.
Well, he just talked to his crew, and Johnny told his crew, he said, Eddie is really hauling the mail, isn't he? And the crew advised him, Johnny, if he gets to you, he's getting off the corner awfully well.
So he's got his mirrors working too. He knows what's going on in the race, and that's good for any race driver. Mike Eddy picking up 4th place just before that last yellow, and now he won 3rd place.
Oh, he's working on Butch Miller. He has the nose up under the quarter panel as they come down the front straightaway down into turn 1. He should just go right on by Butch Miller.
See that spark from the back? There's a little dip right in the bottom end of that corner, and occasionally you will see sparks. It's nothing to be too concerned about. There's Joey Clinton. He's in 6th position. He's got Tim Taylor just behind him and Gary St. Amant just in front. The number 28 machine, Tim Taylor, has kind of snuck his way into this top 10 and now making a good, solid representative run. Let's go to Bob Gerald.
And we are here with Tim's dad, Sonny, who is, it looked like you were getting ready to talk to Tim, but you guys are on your way to your 3rd straight top 10. He's doing great.
Well, I hope we make it. We still got a few laps to go, and there's a lot of good cars out there yet.
Are you surprised at Tim's run today? He's been very competitive.
Timmy's always had some pretty good runs. We just need to pick it up in the pits for him.
All right, so Tim Taylor doing a good job out here today. Again, guys, looking for his 3rd straight top 10.
Well, in 5 starts here at Hawkeye Downs, his best he's been able to manage is 15th. That was last August, so this will be his best run here if it holds up to the end. He's got a fight on his hands right now, though. Running in 7th place, Robbie Piles kind of attacking him on the outside. We've seen a lot of folks attack on the outside tonight.
Exactly right. It's a 2-race groove out there at the moment. As they all right now, they're fighting their way right now. They're losing ground to the leaders. So side by side like that really takes away from what you're doing.
There they are, still side by side. Joey Clanton just in front of Pyle. He is in the battle for position as well. He's got 6. Now Pyle has 7.
Oh, Joey Clanton gets hit from behind. Robbie Pyle was in full run off the corner there. He got right in the right rear corner, Joey Clanton. That helped Taylor a little bit.
Pyle checks up slightly. Taylor's down underneath him once more, and that battle is rejoined. It looked like Pyle had the position. It's going to be maybe a few minutes before they resolve that thing. Also back there is Mike Miller. You see the Janiking car just behind number 18. Mike Miller, who came from the second 10 at the starting grid. Let's look at that little bump.
Joey Clanton in the 83. Robbie Pyle right here gets in the right rear corner. You can see him fighting the steering wheel. Tim Taylor picks up the throttle, and just behind them, Mike Miller in the 18.
Now, was that a little bump? You and I never quite agreed.
Yeah, that is a little bump there. That's one where Joey Clanton got a little bit loose, I think, backed down the throttle, and Pyle was at full throttle.
Pyle gets the position from Tim Taylor. You see right behind Taylor, that's Mike Miller. And Garvey is in the fight. Where is he? He's a little bit further back. Mike Garvey running in 10th spot, so he's picked up a little bit since that series of pit stops to try and straighten out an ill-behaving car. But he's certainly out of contention for the win. A top 10 is likely for him, but a top 5 is almost too far away.
And a battle for second.
There we go.
Right now, Sawinski in the 21, the black car, right down on the bottom. Mike Eddy looking for some little flaw where he can make a move and make a run at the 9 car before this day is over.
268 laps have been spent of 300. There he goes down to the inside, and they split and move around some traffic. Mike Eddy tucks in behind, but he'll be back. Just hang on. It's not going to take long before he launches another attack.
And the crowd knows Mike Eddy. They're beginning to jump up and down. Anytime he gets that close to a car, they know this man does not take long to pass the car if he has the car to do it with.
There you see Sauter in the distance, not out of sight by any means. He may be catchable, but Eddy's first got to get around Sawinski. Eddy would seem to have the faster car. Once he clears him, he's most likely going to draw away quickly.
Well, right there, Sawinski's just sliding out just a little bit in the center part of the corner, just enough for Mike Eddy to take a look as they go down in the corner. Now he draws the bead on him.
Now he's got it.
All clear behind them.
So he picks up second position. The blue dot in the distance, that is Johnny Sauter. And
wow, look at the brakes on those cars. Everybody's standing on the brakes. They've turned it up to the last notch they have. You can see the brakes just glowing as they go down the back straightaway.
There you see it right there on that camera cut as we see high from the corner. And there again, buddy, going onto the back straightaway, just glowing.
Look as they apply the brakes right there. It looks like the left front's on fire on Mike Eddy's car, but boy, is that car working nicely on the bottom of the racetrack.
And as we suspected, he draws away a little bit from Kevin Sawinski and trying to reel in Johnny Sauter. Can he get there before the laps run out? Well, we got 27 laps to go. Let's go to Bob Gerald.
Well, we're down here with the Jack Long, who is on the 83 team, the car chief. You were just watching the replay there when Robbie Pyle got into the rear end of Joey Clanton. What'd you think of that?
Well, the Zaxby's Chevrolet's a little tight right now. We actually appreciate the help from Robbie there getting around the corner and kind of loosen it up a little bit. So good to go now.
Whenever you need a little funny quip, this is the man. This is the man, Jack Long. Jack, come here real quick. What's going on with your hair here this weekend? The guy's been giving you all kinds of grief.
Well, it didn't work. We were trying to have a good time in the shop and just thought we'd everybody dye their hair blonde a little bit. And apparently blonde isn't it, so we'll have to go for another color next week.
He was trying to convince the crew if they would win today that have everybody color their hair kind of that cotton candy color.
You know, buddy, I beg to differ with him. It did work, and that's the problem.
I have no comment about hair color here, but I will tell you one thing. He's got his mirror full right now. Joey Clanton does of Robbie Pyle in the 63.
Pyle has had a very nice evening, thank you. He came here feeling good. I told you about our encounter at the airport. So even before he got in the car for the first practice, he thought something was going to come this weekend, and it has.
You know, if Johnny Sauter can continue it, we watch these guys race back through here. If Johnny Sauter can continue what he's doing tonight and wins tonight, he'll tie his father in all-time wins in ASA.
And that's no mean feat by any stretch of the imagination. He has 6 career victories, 7 is what his father recorded. And right now, he is only about 22 laps away from making that a reality. There you see the top 10. Eddie closing a little bit. Sawinski falling back a little bit. And Johnny Sauter on the point. Stay right there. I'm Buddy Baker. I'm Buddy Baker. You're Chris McClure. We got two guys in the for Johnny Sauter's crew. Joe Shear Jr. and the rest looking on. Mike Eddy's people looking on as well. And this guy is just something.
Chris, I'm telling you, he just set record after record after record. Every victory, he set some kind of new record. This kid, I'm telling you, is unbelievable. You never see him out of shape. He picks up the throttle at the right place. When he gets to traffic, he never gets in there and gets himself into much trouble at all.
Jim Sauter won 7 times in the ASA. Son Johnny has won a half a dozen. That equaled the other son, Tim Sauter. They both had 6.
You realize we're talking about a 23-year-old rookie that's doing all this.
Yep, I do. And there you see number 11, Mike Eddy, who is now in the process of trying to hold off Kevin Sawinski, who has fought back with a vengeance and trying to get second place away. And they are losing ground to Sauter. There's the leader once again. He's drawn away from everybody. Let's go back down to Bob Dillner.
Well, Jim Ellison has worked with every one of the Sauter clan. That's Jim, Tim, Jay, and now Johnny. So, Jim, how does Johnny stack up against the rest of the Sauter?
It's a tough question, but he reminds me of his dad. His dad wanted to lead every lap.
Well, his dad was a pretty darn good racer, and Buddy, as you mentioned a little while ago, well, he could tie his dad here tonight, couldn't he?
Incredible. And I watch him go around lap traffic. He just goes down there. The car turns absolutely perfectly. But you have to remember, it's not only Johnny Sauter. It's a great crew. The people behind the car that is out there doing what it's doing right now is not all Johnny Sauter. It's a great team also.
Well, you know, the fact of the matter is, we talk about experience being important in a lot of elements of a team. Along pit wall, they have 84 years of ASA experience. So he's a rookie in the car, but that's not a rookie helping him prepare that car. That's not a rookie team. Battle for second continuing as Sawinski tries to come to terms with Mike Eddy. I don't know if he can. 291 are gone, 9 laps to go for the lead pack. There are a dozen still on the lead lap in this event.
You're exactly right. Catching Mike Eddy's one thing, passing him is another. He's a very, very torrid guy. When it comes to getting in the traffic and stuff, very good at what he does and knows how to protect the lead, but he's not going to catch Sauter unless something drastic happens.
Now the laps are winding down quickly. It only takes about in the 18 seconds or so to get around each time. We'll have 19 this late in the race is what they are lapping at, 91.5 miles an hour or so. Although Mike Eddy, the last trip around, was faster than the race leader, so was Sawinski. They're gaining ground, but then again, Johnny isn't exactly pressing from where he sits.
Well, right now, you see Mike Eddy out there, and he drove his heart out tonight. Lost a lot of track position on pit stops and all, but I guarantee you right now, running second, that's hard on you when you can't make up distance on the car in front of you. That's when you start feeling the heat. You start doing little things that aggravate you, and you get in almost a bad mood if you want to get right down to it.
There goes Eddy around Matt Sealski, so does Sawinski, and right behind him, I mean, he's only a few feet away. That's Butch Miller back there.
And Butch Miller's got a good car on long runs, as we know.
So he may pick up a spot if he gets a little bit of a break here before it's done. But now we're down to less than 5 to go. And there you see Butch washes out a little bit from the low lane there. Maybe his tires are off a little bit. And he lost some ground on Sawinski.
But the one thing we have to remember, you can see lap traffic there. Matt Sealski with the front end. Well, that's not even Matt Sealski. That's Smokestack there in the 07 with the left front corner gone. But all this is something you have to worry about when you're running through this lap traffic. Even though Sauter right now looks like he's on the easy street, one little mistake passing these lap cars can take you out.
He's in the middle of turn number 4, and down the straightaway he comes. 298 is his count now as we watch the battle for second place. Just a couple of laps away for Johnny Sauter, who is on the back straight.
The flagman has a white flag in his hand, and I'll tell you something, folks. You're watching history right here in ASA. This young man, Johnny Sauter, he's done it all. White flag, 1 to go.
Jay Sauter with 1. Tim Sauter with a half a dozen. Dad Jim Sauter with 7. Son Johnny a half a lap away from his 7th career ASA victory through 3, through 4. He straightens it up one more time, and there it is. 7 victories for the rookie and points leader. Let's pick up the battle for second. Eddie will claim it. Sawinski will run third. Butch in 4th, and Gary St. Amand in 5th. Terrific race.
Joey Clanton in 6th, then Robbie Powell and Tim Taylor. Great run in 8th.
And rounding out the top 10, Garvey, who was so strong early, and Mike Cope in the 10th position. We'll be back to talk to the men on the podium in just a moment. Coverage of the 2001 ASA AC-Delco Racing Series Championship is being brought to you by BF Goodrich Tires. Take control. Welcome back to Hawkeye Downs. There you see it. The verdict is in. Johnny Sauter has captured his 7th career victory. His 7th victory of this season. And a couple of donuts were in order just a moment ago. Now we go to Bob Dillner.
Johnny Sauter is rocking and rolling all night long here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. He has swept the series races here at Hawkeye Downs Speedway. And Johnny, we've talked about crews all night long, and your crew is really important to your success this year.
This AP Plasma team is awesome. I mean, we practice pit stops all the time, and the GM Vortec motor ran good all night. These BFG tires are awesome, and I can't say enough. I just want to wish my grandma happy birthday.
You know, we were joking around during the week and saying, well, maybe you're washed up now. You haven't won in 2 races. Well, you're finally back in victory lane again.
Yeah, that's awesome. I knew we had a really good shot at winning again here at Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I really love this place, and you know, we had a lot of good runs there the last couple times out, but wasn't able to get the job done. But this is really, really sweet.
You realize you have tied your dad's record for wins here in ASA.
That's unbelievable, because I think the world of my dad. He's the greatest race car driver I ever thought there ever was, but this is awesome. I just want to thank Alec Pinsnow and everybody at AP Performance Racing. This is unbelievable.
Well, you know, this guy is pretty awesome, but the crew is pretty awesome too, guys. A dynamite job for the AP Plasman boys.
Yeah, big salute to them. Joe Shear Jr., Joe Zielinski, Richard Timmons, Dale Fredericks, Bob Dominizak, Dennis Moore, Ken Tuning, and the tire guru, Vic Getzlaff. They earned their keep tonight. Sauter's the winner, then Eddie and Sawinski and Butch Miller and St. Amand. Look at the whole field there, Buddy Baker. But this was a heck of a race and a heck of a victory.
It was that, and Joe Shear called Johnny over the radio on the last lap, and he said, "You are the best driver I've ever worked with." And that's saying a lot. He's worked with some great ones.
He has indeed, and of course with that, Johnny Sauter will expand his lead in the championship. Could be his year. Maybe it is already. We'll be back. Hawkeye Downs, the celebrations underway for Johnny Sauter and his faithful. They have captured their 7th victory of this campaign, and he expands his lead in the championship. He came here leading by 44. It is more than that now, and the time is beginning to run out on the others who hope to track him down. The 77-point margin is what Sauter now enjoys. Let's go down to the pits once again. Bob Gerald.
And Mike Eddy getting a 2nd place finish tonight. Your best of the year, Mike. How's this feel?
You know, it feels really great. There's been a lot of effort put into this by the whole Go-Go Motorsports team and, you know, the Myers crew and everybody at Hull Racing Enterprise. This is a new car that we've been working hard on here for the last 3-4 months. Doing a lot of testing, trying to get something that it could be competitive. And it's the first time we raced it, so we're pretty tickled, you know. We think we got a little more in it and can't wait for the next race.
All right, look out the rest of the guys. The Polar Bear, he's a little hot right now, but he could be coming in races to come with the new ride, Chris.
Speaking of races to come, next up, Madison International Speedway, then Jennerstown, Minnesota, Memphis, Winchester, and Indianapolis, where it will all be said and done if it's not before. So far this year, Johnny Sauter with 7 victories, well in front in the championship. Mark down those dates. If you can get to an ASA race, come on by. And otherwise, join us right here on TNN for each and every one of them. Before we leave you, we'd like to extend our heartfelt wishes and sympathy to our associate producer, Pam Duckworth, who lost her father this week. Pam, not with us this evening. Hang in there, Pammy. We're pulling for you, and we're praying for your father. For Buddy Baker, Bob Gerald, and Bob Dillner, this is Chris McClure. Thank you for joining us for the Texas Roadhouse 300. Join us in Madison, Wisconsin for round 15 in a couple of weeks. That's Friday evening, August 17th at 9 Eastern Time. We'll see you then. Till then, so long, everybody.